So we've signed Niklaus Füllkrug. Did you see his interview, by the way? That was really, really good. He did an interview on the official website. His English is really good. He seems like a good guy, you know, a really good laugh. I think he's going to settle in really well. Looking forward to seeing and hearing a lot more from him. Seems like a character, and I think you can't have enough characters in your squad. Yeah, playing ability, obviously, they need to be able to play and all that other stuff. But I think particularly if you are going to lose people like Thomas Souček or Vladimir Coufal, possibly both, who knows, then, you know, you probably need to replace them with good, effervescent characters, and he certainly seems to be that. He literally keeps flexing his bicep all the time, which I think is quite a nice signature move for this. More WWE wrestler than football in many respects, but that's really good. Rodriguez, Rodders, Dave, if you want. We decided not to call him the budgie smuggler. So he's signed as well. Look, I'm not going to pretend not to be slightly concerned about us buying two 31-year-olds, basically. But, you know, if we're going to continue to buy the young players as well, then I guess it's fine. I look forward to seeing them play. Aside from that, I'm not going to make too much judgment. Actually, on Rodriguez and old Rodders there, we hadn't given him the honk of arrival. So we do that. I am actually going to get a proper button for that every time we sign a player. So I'm going to get like a red button and mount it, and not like that. Not like that. I mean, I'm going to mount it on a board and mount it on the wall, and every time, because that would be a video, wouldn't it? I'm going to honk the horn of arrival, or whatever the case may be. But it's not those two I wanted to talk about, which is amazing because everyone's spoken about them for 1 minute and 50 odd seconds. What I wanted to talk about was Jean-Clair Todibo. Now, you remember him. Here's the story on this one. We had an agreement with Nice, who are his club in France, and that was all brilliant. It was a £27 million deal. The first year was on loan. Now, the reason we were doing that is to defer the payments until future years. There was going to be a loan fee up front. It was a way of spreading a transfer over 6 years, I think. We were going to do that. The player had agreed to come. Right up until the point Juventus said, excuse me, we would like to buy this player, please. And then we were sort of screwed because his head got turned and he decided he wanted to go there instead of West Ham. Crazy. He wanted to go to Turin rather than live in Stratford. I don't know what was going on. And he wanted to play Champions League football. Weird. I don't know. Just odd, really. Anyway, it appears that they seem to have got into a bit of a pickle. And when I say them, I mean Juventus and Nice. To cut a very long story, shortish, it would appear that Nice have had enough for Juventus's low-ball offers, really. Not only low-ball offers, unsettling the player. You've got to remember, there's naffle money in France, not the country, but in French football at the moment. I think they've seen, over the course of the last few years, the collapse of 3 separate TV deals. And they had a really, really big TV deal with a company called Canal Plus, and that went by the wayside. I think they've really struggled to get their finances going. So for a club like Nice, a guarantee of sort of £27 million is a big deal. They can actually structure something around that. They can look to get their own transfer, I guess their own transfer wheels turning in that regard. And they haven't taken kindly to that being stopped by the bad guys, in this case Juventus. And then Juventus coming back and saying, well, actually, we'll give you a lot less for him. And you can understand why. They were just about to make a sale for £27 million and Juventus can't get anywhere near it. But they've also unsettled the player. So Nice have either got the player, who is there, technically he's there, but he's unsettled, his head's been turned, and they don't have the money either. And it appears that they've got the ump so much now, they've said, you know what, we're not even going to do a loan deal with you anymore. We won't. So I don't know how true this is, but it comes from Sport Italia, so I'm not saying like Sky can never get anything wrong. Clearly that's not the case, but they're a reputable source, let's put it that way. And so the reporter that mainly deals a lot of the Juventus stuff, and a lot of the Juventus websites are running the story as well, which is that Juve have been told you don't even get to match West Ham's deal. You basically need to give us the money up front, and that's what you need to do. As a punishment, it seems like punishment. As a punishment for unsettling old Jean-Clair. Good. I say good. I'd like to be the bigger man in this, but no, I don't mind if West Ham get preferential treatment. Don't care. Why should I be otherwise? I'm biased. I'm a West Ham fan. I've got no love for Juventus. So, good. And I think it's allowed us to enter the bidding again. Well, we don't have to bid again. We have. Our bid has been accepted. But I think by and large we'd sort of given up on Todibo, and yet here we are. We're still in the race. We're playing a patient game on this one. And I guess, I mentioned it yesterday with Obi-Wan Bissaka. Maybe, I think patience. I think we can afford to be patient with the centre-backs because we do have centre-backs there. A Gerd will play there. To be fair, Edson Alvarez could play there, particularly if we bring, if Rodgers, well, I say Rodgers comes in. Rodgers is here. Dave's here, isn't he? So that's good. Obviously we've got Mavropanos there. Zouma can't. We'll get to Zouma in a second. It's not the end of the world. So I think we can play this quite patiently. There's not the same urgency there is on the right back situation. That much is for certain. Before I go any further and talk about Kurt Zouma, because I've heard the most preposterous story about Kurt Zouma, and I'll deal with that in just a second. Before I do, please allow me to show you my pube trimmer. This is, I turned that on, it didn't happen by accident. This is the Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0. This is the best male grooming... Nay, rewind. This is the second best male grooming tool on the market. It is absolutely amazing. It's a waterproof shaver. You can take it in the shower, and it's got a torch, so you can see your pecker. All right, that's very, very good. However, I'll tell you what the first best male grooming tool is, and that's the Manscaped beard trimmer. Look at that. It's magnificent. It's never down here in the cave because I use it. This is always down here. I don't use this. You can imagine it's like the Amazon forest down there. Up here, lovely, lovely, beautiful manicured stuff. Manscaped make the best stuff available to anybody that likes their male grooming. If you want to keep trim, you want to keep buff, I believe they call it. The youngsters probably don't call it buff anymore. It's probably something else. Pentings, I believe. Maybe I got that wrong. People probably embarrassed. If my son or my daughter heard me say that on a video, they'd think, oh, what's he doing? What's the old man doing? Saying, what? You can't say pentings. You can't say pentings. Is it pen or peng? I'm not entirely sure. But whatever, if you want to look, pentings, then you want to get yourself some Manscaped clobber, some Manscaped gear. I'm going to give you 20% off. So when you get to the discount code, and it says, put all the stuff in your basket, so the beard trimmer, the ointments, new pair of boxer shorts, you're looking all good, all ready for the summer. Put it in your basket. It'll say, do you have a discount code? You say, yes, I do. It's called Hammers Chat Pubes. It's all one word. It's disgraceful, isn't it? Hammers Chat Pubes, all one word, gives you 20% off, and it gives you free shipping. Brilliant bit of kit. Anyway, moving swiftly on to Kurt Zouma. Here's the rumour. Here's the Zouma rumour. Zouma rumour. We can't do that for much longer. Well, probably for another year, actually. Because the Zouma rumour is that he's going to be leaving. There's been a £20 million bid from Saudi Arabia. I cannot. I'm sorry. I don't need another honkometer, quite frankly, for this one. All I need is me poppycockomometer. I'm going to call poppycock on this one. Now, I've got a really bad record recently on the poppycockomometer, and that's because I called poppycock on Niklaus Fulkrug on the Hulk rug. I said, no, this ain't going to happen, and it did. So I got it wrong. Hey, I'm not in the know, right? I'm just here. I give you yesterday's news tomorrow. That's what we do here. Anyway, I can't imagine it. £20 million. Look, the club want to get rid of him. This is not new news. This really isn't. They were saying this back in October. Honestly, back in October, they said his knees are gone. He's not getting a new deal. Back in April, they said he's for sale. So the fact that the club are going to be open to offers now is no big deal on this. And so I don't know where this £20 million thing from Saudi Arabia has come from. I'd be gobsmacked. How could he possibly pass a medical? And look, I feel bad for him. But I certainly do hope that the club aren't banking on getting his wages off the wage bill or bringing £20 million in for him, because I just can't see it. How can it possibly happen? How can we get £20 million for Kurt Zouma? I just hope we've not budgeted for that, because we can't. The best Zouma can hope for, well, one of two things. Firstly, let me just say I do have a little bit of sympathy for him, really, because actually I think I gave him a little bit of stick last season because I thought his captaincy wasn't great. Now the cameras have opened up behind the scenes and we can see a lot more what goes on in the training ground and stuff like that. I'm now starting to see, actually, he is quite an effervescent character. He is, I don't know whether he's a leader, but he's popular, he's talkative. The Kurt Zouma you see on the pitch is not the one you see on the training ground and in and around the club. So I have a level of sympathy for him there. So I don't think he's quite as bad a captain as maybe I'd suggested he might be last season. But anyway, he's possibly going to want to stay around at West Ham. He's on big money. And he's not going to get anywhere near that money anywhere else. If he does, he's going to have to be on a pay-per-play sort of thing. Because if he doesn't pass a medical, and I don't think he will, there's no reason for any club to pay any money for him. The best we can do is get his wages off the wage bill. That's the best we can hope for this season. But if he doesn't pass a medical, and I suspect he won't, he can't get insured. And if he can't get insured, any purchasing club are not going to be able to really spend big money on him. They can't put him on a big contract. So I really do. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes, even if he did go to Saudi, I wouldn't be surprised if he was on 10 grand a week. Not bad, I'm about 10 grand a week, right? Nice. And then maybe 100 grand for every appearance or something like that. I don't know. I've made that. I could be an agent. I could be a football agent, couldn't I? Something like that. I don't think he's going to get a much better deal. I don't think there's a bunch of clubs beating a path to our door. Maybe we could give him to Juventus. We can have Todibo. Who knows? Anyway, there you go. Can't see it happening. Can't see him going anywhere. And I feel for him, really, because he's going to be in between a bit of a rock and a hard place. Because if he stays at West Ham, he can't play. He can't play. He really, really can't. Just about in Moyes' system sometimes. But it was still, I mentioned it. I mentioned it before when we played Nottingham Forest. Was it 1-1? He was lucky. He got battered that game, but he got away with it. I mean, it should have been, honestly, if it had been a boxing match, the corner would have thrown in the towel. So this has been on the cards for a long time, and he's not got better during the summer, that's for sure. So can't see any way that he can play. Anyway, there you go. Anyway, back to the start of the video. Jean-Clair Todibo could be back on.